Western Carolina University biology professor Dr. Sean O'Connell shows how to prevent mold from growing in bacteria cultures.
We do basically disinfection of the surfaces that we can work on. So this is just basically rubbing alcohol. So it's 70% alcohol, and that will kill 99+% of what's on the surface. And then we use Bunsen burners. Anything we can sterilize, we do sterilize. So what I'm going to do is just pass this metal spreading device through the flame a couple of times, and I'll hold it for now. And I'm going to get my chemical, the cyclohexamide, onto this plate media and use this spreader to make sure it's evenly suspended across the surface of the. So I'm going to just get that shut up in there. And what this compound does is it stops the organisms that are eukaryotes, like fungi, from being able to make proteins. It blocks the ribosome, where proteins are made in a cell. So it essentially kills them by not allowing them to grow. So I'm just moving this metal triangular shaped device, the spreader, across the plate, kind of turning the plate. And what's happening now is I can feel some resistance, so that means the chemical's soaked into the media pretty well. So I'll go ahead and put the lid back on, and then it's always a good idea to reflame tools once you use them. With the metal tool, like a inoculating loop, which is what this is, you want to get it red hot, okay, and then let it cool down to where you can subsample the culture safely. What I'm going to do is just target that colony I pointed out, and there may be 3 or 4 species on here, but I want to get down to one pure culture of this guy. And so all you have to do is really just tap that colony with the loop, and there's just enough cells on there that they'll want to start growing on the fresh media. And I'm just going to zigzag back and forth like 6 or 7 times, reflame the loop, and I'll wait a few minutes. So the 2 things I'm doing to try to prevent mold from growing are working within the flame and then using that compound, cyclohexamide. This plate, we should have pretty good confidence it's sterile because I made it a couple weeks ago and it's still not growing anything. And I don't know if you probably can't see it, but those like 2 or 3 of the last streak lines, I'm just going to cross over them. So I'm picking up a few cells from there and carrying them into the next section, and I'm just going to re-streak those, and then I'm going to show you the shortcut. I don't teach my students in class, but I can use the other side of the loop without having to re-sterilize it, and then find the last couple streak lines and do the kind of the same thing. Flame it again, and do it one more time. So if you tilt the plate just right and the light would stay in that zone, you can see where your space on the plate you haven't occupied is yet. And so I'm going to touch that just to make sure it's not too hot. Go through those last couple streak lines and just sort of fill in the gap. So like I said, today you see nothing. Tomorrow you might see something, but by a few days time, like Ben said, maybe over the weekend kind of time scale of 2-3 days, that plate will have colonies growing on it. And ideally they're all going to look like that one I started with today. So we've just got clones of that original culture. But for now, it just looks like another empty plate.
Cool. The bacteria culture should be mold-free thanks to the techniques Dr. O'Connell used.